Hello, my name is Alex Davidson. I'm with the Hobby Quest, and today I wanted to talk to you about your first session with your students. So this is like first time you're coming into a classroom. Every single instructor has a first day. So I wanted to just quickly walk through with you what's going on with that first day. So firstly, once you've arrived at the school, I always try to arrive a bit early just to learn about what their dismissal policy is. How do you collect up the kids? Are they joining in one area, or are they going to join you in the classroom? Always get there a few minutes early on the first day just to learn how the school works, because every school works a little bit differently. So once you understand all that and you're ready to go, you'll do everything you need to with the kids. Once you get them into the classroom, that's when you're going to do your introductions. You're going to say, hello, my name is Alex. For me, my name is Alex, but my super awesome magician name is Alex Kazam. Now, every magician has a really good magician name, so everyone in the class will be asked to try to come up with something. You can just throw that out there. You don't have to start asking quite yet, but just throw it out there. Everyone in here will have a magic name by the end of the class. So once you've made all the introductions and you've spoken about what you're going to be doing in the class, now it's time to go on to the magic oath. The magic oath is very important. You'll find it in your instructor handbook. And it's going to explain everything in there. You raise your right hand, you recite the oath together, and really what it's about is that a magician never reveals their secrets to any non-magician. And the reason for that might not be so obvious. I always ask around the class, why do we never reveal our secrets? And a lot of times they'll just say, because then everyone's going to know how it works. Well, the reason why we never reveal our secrets is because magic is fun because we don't know how it works. And as soon as you learn how a magic trick works, you're going to go, oh, okay, and then you're going to forget about it. And that's the thing that makes magic interesting, is not knowing how something works. So it's not just about saying the oath and saying, we don't reveal our secrets. It's really important for the kids to understand why we don't reveal our secrets. Because then they're just going to be like, why can't I just tell everyone I want? Who cares? They need to understand that that's the thing that makes magic magic. And once you've gone over why you don't reveal the secrets or anything, the other part of the magic oath is that you always practice. And practice. It's really, really important, because magic is really tricky, pun intended. Magic, anything could go wrong at any time if you don't know the trick absolutely perfectly. So they have to understand that, just because you know how a trick works doesn't mean that you're ready to perform it. There's so many things that could go wrong, and if you don't practice it over and over and over before a performance, then you might not realize all of the things that could accidentally go wrong. So it's very important for them to understand that you can't just perform something right after you learn it. You really have to practice it before you can be really confident in going out and showing it to an audience. So now that you've gotten the names and you've gone over the oath and you're ready to move on to the actual class, this is where it starts going into the traditional kind of class structure. Our first class is, of course, going to be very different because we have all the introductions. But for the most part, every class is, you come in, you say hello to everyone, you get everyone introduced, you do the magic oath, and then you move on to your trick. So you have everyone sit down, you say, please, it's very important, you never interrupt a magician, so please no questions, no comments, nothing during the performance. You take out the trick, you perform it for them, you talk about how, a little bit about it, what makes it interesting, come up with a cool story with it. It's really good to get a good story going on with your trick. You don't want it to just be the trick. It has to be something interesting on top of that. And once you've gone through all that, I usually perform it maybe a second or third time, and then I ask the class, how do you think it works? And I let the kids kind of try to figure it out. If a kid guesses it correctly, I still just say, that's a very good guess. Who else has an idea? I want to give everyone a chance to guess how it works. And then once we've gotten all of the guesses in, if anyone guessed it correctly, then I say, you got it correct. You were absolutely right. And the way it works is this. And then you can take the trick out. You can show them the secret of it, and you can reveal how it all works. And then you say, okay, now I want everyone to find a partner. You hand out the tricks, and then they will perform it with each other. And you say, with your partner, I want one of you to be a magician, one of you to be the audience member. Once you've performed it, switch off. You could go the other way, And once you feel comfortable with it, I always ask the kids to come up to me and try to perform it for me and just do the trick on their own. Now, something else with this, with just magic as a whole, something I always teach the kids is that magic is about 80% performance and about 20% actually doing the magic trick. And this to kids doesn't really make much sense. What do you mean it's all about the performance? Don't you just grab the thing and do the thing? Well, no. Most of what a magic trick is all about the way that you speak to the audience. It's about the way that you talk to the audience, the way you engage people. It's about the way you perform it. Like if you go too quickly, which kids tend to do, kids don't quite understand timing quite yet. So this is something that we have a chance to teach them about. If you just do a trick really fast, the audience is going to sit there going, I don't know what just happened. That was just so quick that I don't know what it was. You have to give the audience time to see what's happening and time to process it before you go on to the next part. And timing and all this kind of stuff is stuff that we can teach the kids. So performance is almost the entire magic trick. And actually doing the trick is just the extra part. That's how I always explain it to them, because the kids always just think it's just all about just doing the trick, which is not quite correct. So speaking about the performance of a trick, I always give an example to everyone. And the example that I always give is the disappearing coin trick. Because the thing about this trick is that it seems really simple, and even if you know how it works, you're going to think, oh, that's the easiest thing in the world. But to any experienced magician, you'll understand that this is a very complex trick that has a lot of moving parts. And the actual part of the trick that's important is just such a minute part of the entire performance. So let me give you an example of that. So as you can see, I have my coin. So as you can see, I'm holding it here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this disappear. And just like that, the coin is gone. But it's not actually gone. It's right over here on the desk next to me, right there. Now that seems really simple. To anyone who might understand that, whoever had an uncle at a party, you might understand, oh, it's quite simple. All you're doing is pretending to pass this coin into your other hand, and really you're just holding it in that other hand the entire time. Well, yeah, that's how the trick works, but there's a lot more to it than that. There's misdirection, as you can see here. Now watch where my eyes are going. My eyes are following the coin. I always show this to the kids. I let the kids make this observation. My eyes are following the coin the whole time. So if I take this, where did my eyes go? They went to this hand. And that's going to help convince people that the coin is right there. Now, the next thing about this trick is timing. The other thing I show the kids is, what if I took my coin and I just have it right here? It's gone. Well, that was just so quick. We didn't have time to process that. It was just, bam, it's gone, that's it. And that's not very good. Yeah, I did the trick. The trick worked, but the audience won't understand why it's magic. They won't understand what just happened because it just happened so quickly. So instead, what I do is I show this first. I show, here's my coin. Here we are. And I'm going to make it disappear. And like that, it's gone. Notice the slow reveal of the empty hand. And now I can make it appear on my desk right there. And there it is. So then, once again, I show the kids, here's how to not do it. Hey guys, I have this coin, look, and now it's gone, now it's over here. It was just so quick, nobody has time to process it. And this is the thing that the kids need to understand. From day one, most of being a magician is about performing the magic trick, not about doing the magic trick. So I always try to make that as clear to them as possible, that this is the main thing that we're going to be focusing on in the class, is not the actual doing of it, but performing of it. Speaking to the audience, making sure everyone can hear you, making sure your voice is loud enough to be heard, making sure you're engaging people, looking at the audience, just making it something fun for everyone to watch. Because if you're just sitting there doing a magic trick, no one's going to be interested. So another thing with the first session is that you will be supplied with one extra trick. One trick that the kids will not be learning, and it's separate from the curriculum. And the reason for this is that you are a magician as long as they don't know one of the tricks that you do know. So if you're sitting there showing them every single trick that you know, then they're not going to really think of you as a magician because, well, they know all the same tricks you do. But if you have this one trick that they don't know, and maybe you could show it on the first session, maybe even on the last session, like as well, just both of them so that they get to see it twice, but like really far apart, then the kids look at you and say, ooh, that is a magician. That's someone that knows all these amazing tricks, and all it takes is one trick that they don't understand, and that's going to make them think of you as a really awesome magician. So another thing with the first session that's very important to establish with everyone is that they need to make sure to keep track of every single trick that you do throughout the class. I can't tell you how many times I've had a student come up to me on the last day of class and say, Alex Kazam, I have lost every single one of the tricks and I don't have a single one left. Because they would just put it wherever they wanted to and it didn't matter to them, and then they would just lose it. So on the very first day of class, I always talk to the kids and say, look, every single trick, I want you to take it home and put it in your special place. It could be a shoebox, it could be a spot in the closet, it could be anything. And there's two reasons why we want that to happen. First reason is that we don't want to lose our tricks. We want to keep them all together in one place so that if we decide, ooh, I want to do a magic show because my friend is visiting from out of town, then you can go and grab all of the tricks and you can do it. The second reason for not wanting all the tricks to be spread out, you want them all to be in one place, is because if they're spread out, then the problem is that someone else could find them. And we don't want people finding our tricks and, playing around with them. They might figure out how it works. So we want them to be in one place where only the magician knows where it is. So this is really important, not only just for keeping it together, but also on the last day of class, you're going to ask them to bring the tricks in. You're going to ask them to bring their box of tricks, maybe a bag, whatever it is, and you're going to tell them, you want them to bring all of their tricks in. And hopefully they shouldn't come up to you and say, oh, I've lost every single one of them. I don't know where any of them are, because on the first day of class you told them that it's very important to keep them all together in one spot. So it's really important to emphasize that as much as you can throughout the first and probably even the second class. And then on top of that, of course, the instructor should keep their own set of the tricks. Just one put to the side every single day at the end of the class where you know that it's there, so that on the last day of class, if someone forgot their tricks, they can borrow the tricks from you temporarily so that they can still do the tricks even though they don't have them with them in class. Because even that happens sometimes. Maybe they didn't lose it, but they just forgot to bring it into school that day. They tried to remember it, but they totally forgot. That's fine. The instructor has their own set of tricks, and they will be able to use those. So on the second to last day of class, what we want to do is we want to have our magic rehearsal. This means that we are going to pretend like we're doing the magic show in front of all the parents and everyone who's going to come in. We pretend to do a kind of a mock magic show where we set up the class so that everyone is like at the table, maybe in the front, maybe a whole bunch of chairs in front of it. Set it up as much like a stage as you can. And then you're going to walk through, what is the trick that you're going to do. You want to make sure that every single kid does at least one trick before anybody does a second trick. Because with a class with up to 15 kids in it, you can sometimes lose track of who's gone and who hasn't. So it's very important that you make sure that everyone goes at least once, because sometimes you'll have that one kid who has a bit of stage fright, and their parent is going to be there on the last day of class with the camera out and they want to do the whole thing, and then they're going to come up to you at the end going, what happened? My kid never performed a trick. So we don't want that to happen. So we want to make sure that every kid understands that they should go at least once. So now that you've established that, you ask them, what trick do you want to start out with? It's very important to mention that it is okay for people to do the same trick. We have about 15 kids in the class. Maybe you'll only do 8 to 10 tricks in the whole thing. Of course, someone has to do, the same trick over. But that's okay, because remember, 80% of being a magician is about the performance, and 20% of it is about doing the trick. So it doesn't matter if you're doing the same trick. What matters is that a different person is doing it, which will make it feel completely different, because everyone's going to make each trick feel totally different from someone else. So now that everyone understands that, and now that everyone has an idea of what their first trick is going to be, they're going to come in and, you're going to set it all up, make sure everyone understands, be very quiet while the other magicians are working, because, you wouldn't want them talking while you're doing the magic trick. So you're going to just run through the whole thing as if it was the real performance, and then remind them at the end of class, we are very much required to bring in tricks for next week. You really want to set that idea with them. You want them to bring their own tricks. You want them to feel ownership over this magic show that they're doing in the last class, and that means that they should use their own stuff. If they accidentally forget it, which happens from time to time, they can always borrow your stuff or from another student, so that's fine. But you really want as many of them to bring it in as possible. So as for the performance and the whole rehearsal and everything, the other thing I tell the kids is that they can feel free to dress up. Now, a lot of times they'll have like Halloween costumes with like a wizard hat or a cape, or maybe they have a magic kit at home with like a top hat or anything like that. I always encourage the kids to dress up and make it kind of interesting and unique. I had one kid recently who his magic name was Batman, and then he came in dressed as Batman, and that was kind of awesome. So like that kind of thing, I always encourage my kids to do that, because it makes it so the whole magic performance is just that much more awesome on the last day of class.